This will be our second installment in reading in the content area. I have a better microphone this time, should be better. I bought one for myself. The foreign language department stole it, but I went down and got it back. If you're doing podcasting or movie making with your kids in the next few weeks for some reason and you need a microphone, we do have one. And I think Anna is going to order some more, so we'll have some more around in the building, and I think the microphone improves the story. But on to reading in the content area. Remember, we're talking about the three interactive elements of reading: the reader, the climate, and the text features. Featured this week is the role of the reader. No, I didn't finish reading the homework. It was way too hard. I mean, I have no clue about chromosomes or whatever the chapter was about. How can you expect me to read the chapter if it doesn't make any sense? What did we read yesterday? Well, I think it was something about Bosnia. No, wait. Maybe it was Botswana. I don't know. It was about some foreign country that started with a B. Why do we have to know all that stuff anyway? We'll never need it. But I did read the story. I just don't remember it, that's all. I never do. I can read something 3 times and still not remember what I read. Do those comments sound familiar? Students who struggle with reading often give up on reading and sometimes lose confidence in themselves as students. To them, reading comprehension is something of a mystery. They think that comprehension just happens, or ought to. If one can decode the words on the page, well, that didn't make sense. They think that comprehension just happens, or ought to, if one can decode the words on a page. That made more sense, didn't it? When they aren't successful in comprehending what they read, they blame the text, themselves, even their teacher. These students are unaware that comprehension requires more than simple decoding. They haven't been taught that readers have an active role to play while reading. Effective readers interact with the author of the text while they read, work to make sense of the text and how it aligns with what they already know, and apply strategies to stay on task. Nobody ever told me that. Glad I read this book. They have learned that comprehension is something that really takes place behind the eyes. Certainly the ability to decode a word is important. However, the reader's role extends beyond using basic reading skills to 2 key inner resources: prior knowledge and mental disposition, or the reader's effective response to reading the content area text. Prior knowledge. As noted earlier, prior knowledge is the content knowledge and personal experiences the reader brings to the learning task. Teachers know that students bring a wide range of background knowledge and experiences to class. The same class may contain students whose families are highly educated and encourage reading of all kinds, students whose experience of the world is limited to what they see on TV, and students for whom English is a second or even a third language. Faced with this mix of backgrounds, effective teachers help students prepare for reading as much as possible by incorporating pre-reading strategies that activate and assess readers' prior knowledge. Pulling forward that knowledge gives readers a structure on which to attach new learnings. Excuse me again. Teachers can help students activate their prior knowledge in a variety of ways: brainstorming, asking questions, discussing the topic, and providing analogies. This manual contains 5 additional strategies teachers can use to help students recall what they know. KWL, what I know, what I want to know, and what I learned. DR/TA, direct reading/thinking activity. PREP, PREP, pre-reading plan. Anticipation guides. That sounds like Madeline. And problematic situations. That happens all the time. Probably not the same. These can be found in the informal text strategies at the end of this manual. Even before introducing the strategies, the teacher should consider discussing the benefits of strategy use. We know that students are more motivated to learn when they see the value in the learning. Consequently, it's helpful to point out that studies have been conducted on the benefits of strategy use. These have shown that all students can benefit from using reading strategies, especially those who have had trouble in the past with reading. Strategies that help readers take out and dust off prior knowledge before reading directly affects learning. Readers who have that information available can make more connections and learn more while they read. Those readers whose prior knowledge is accessible and well developed remember far more from their reading than readers whose prior knowledge of a topic is limited. Using these pre-reading strategies in class benefits not just the students whose prior knowledge is well developed. However, students whose backgrounds are more limited can learn from their more experienced peers. In effect, the students teach one another as they engage in these strategies. Incorporating strategies to access prior knowledge can yield useful information for teachers as well. As students express what they already know, teachers can determine which students might need a more thorough grounding in a topic before reading. Additionally, these pre-reading strategies can reveal if the information students know is accurate. Studies show that readers who have misperceptions about a topic often overlook, misinterpret, or don't remember the text information that disagrees with their background information, however incorrect that might be. Using pre-reading strategies can expose... I lost my place, you know? Using pre-reading strategies can expose any misconceptions, and teachers can correct these before assigning the task. My eyes wandered off. The ultimate goal of strategy instruction is independence. We want students to recognize which strategies work well for them, and we want them to practice those strategies to a point where they will use them naturally when reading on their own. Consequently, anything teachers can do to foster this independence is beneficial. For example, when explaining the impact that prior knowledge has on learnings, teachers might also discuss with students how one's prior knowledge or prior experience can influence his perception or judgment. Literature, history, current events, even television programs contain a wealth of illustrations, both comic and tragic, of how people's past experiences color the way they view the world. Students can reflect on times when their own background and experience caused them to misjudge another person, group, or situation. When students recognize that perceptions are not fact and that schema can be revised as we learn new information, they will also see that they have the power to control what they think and what they learn. Now, the mental disposition. The second component in the reader's role in comprehending text is his mental disposition, or effective response towards reading. The reader's mental disposition encompasses such things as how motivated he is to do what is required, how confident he feels about his ability to succeed at reading, how interested he is in actively pursuing meaning while reading, how he feels about what he is reading, and how much new learning he wants to integrate into his new current schema. Our mental habits influence everything we do. For example, if a reader has a poor attitude toward reading because she thinks she reads poorly and can't understand unfamiliar text, chances are this attitude will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. In continuing to maintain that attitude, she will approach difficult text reluctantly, give up easily if she meets any obstacles, and therefore not understand what she's been assigned to read. Even skilled readers can encounter problems if they haven't developed effective mental habits. For example, an individual might possess knowledge and skill in reading fiction, but run into difficulty reading a computer manual. He may not be skilled at nor enjoy reading technical material. In this case, he needs to apply the mental habits of maintaining an open mind, pushing the limits of his knowledge and abilities, and persevering. These mental habits are referred to as intelligent behaviors, or habits of the mind. Heard that before. Quite simply, these are life skills that can help learners not only in school but throughout their lives. Productive mental dispositions outlined by Maisonneuve and Pickering set the framework for that habits of the mind and discuss that more fully. But they include being open-minded and flexible about ideas and solutions. That's a novel idea, isn't it? Be aware of your own thinking, behaviors, and feelings. Be accurate and seeking accuracy. That means don't skip over the big words either. Be clear and seek clarity. Be able to monitor and control your behavior, learning, and work. Planning appropriately. Responding appropriately to feedback. Identifying and using necessary resources and restraining impulsivity. That's kind of like life, not just reading. How can we help students acquire these habits? First, explain what these behaviors are and that they enhance learning. Lower achieving students may not realize that their attitude, mental habits, and frame of mind affect their learning, or that they have the power to regulate those feelings, attitudes, and behaviors. Second, provide clear examples for students. Model productive habits of the mind. Discuss real-world examples that appear in the news or other media and reinforce their use in class. Learners who practice these behaviors become self-directed learners who are aware of their mental disposition, monitor it, and modify it as needed. In summary, effective readers know that comprehension is not something that just happens. Readers have a role in the reading process. Ideal readers understand that activating prior knowledge of the topic will help them understand and remember more of what they read. They actively pursue meaning. They interact with the text, asking questions like, what is this about? How does this fit with what I already know? What point is the author trying to make? How do I feel about what the author is saying? They monitor their attitude and they know how to modify their mental habits when difficulties arise. So I wonder what our part is in all of that. I've learned a lot more about reading this year, and I've watched us as we teach kids to decode and get the vowels and the consonants, put them all together, recognize the words on the text, and then further up begin to see the sentence and perhaps the meaning of the sentence. I wonder if there's a magic spot where we flip over to applying all of this when they read a paragraph. At my recent principals conference, I had the opportunity to listen to Dr. Tom Friedman, who of course wrote The World is Flat. He said the one most important thing we do is teach kids to learn. They have to learn because that's what they're going to have to do the rest of their life in the global economy. And I think probably this reading thing and that part there about how we set them up to use their prior knowledge and control themselves as they read and think about what they're doing, probably an important thing. What do you think?